Yes, we did it. We are live. Hi, friends. This is Dr. Hazel-Grace Yates, and I am super honored and excited to introduce all of you to my guest, Terra Anderson, who uses they, them pronouns.
We did it!
Oh,
Sorry.
Great. Good job for pausing that in the background. We're so good at technology. Watch us go. Terra is an erotic activist, a gender and sexuality therapist, and a sex coach. Terra specializes in pleasure, reclamation in the LGBTQ plus community, and is here today to discuss Erotic Blueprints, which they will be teaching at the virtual intimacy retreat and their workshop, Decoding Desire, Pleasure, Sovereignty in the Age of Sex. And this retreat is happening May 8th through the 10th. Terra, welcome, and how is it to be here right now?
I am so thrilled. I'm so excited that this is happening right now in the way that like the world is taking shape, that we're finally focusing in this virtual platform on how to reclaim and recenter pleasure in our lives. So amazing.
Yeah, and hearing you say that, my question to you is, why does that matter, or why is that so important to you?
Well, I personally have felt and examined a lot of personal wounding around the way that sex and pleasure is handed to us on this platter, and said that it should really only look this one way, that it's something that happens with or through our genitals, that arousal looks a certain way. There's all of these boxes that we put around the way that we think about sex. And the truth is, our genitals hold like less than a millionth of the nerve endings that exist in our bodies. Yeah, I know. So there's so much more capacity for pleasure than just what exists between our legs, right? And in a time when the ways in which we have found for ourselves to feel good are so limited, you know, we don't have social interaction, touch is super limited for people. All of this stuff is happening right now in our society. We need to start to look at what are the other avenues into arousal, into pleasure, in order to kind of keep ourselves afloat, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, all the things that you just said is the inspiration for this whole weekend, this whole retreat, because, right, on some level, we're going through global trauma on a collective scale. And one way to support us in feeling profoundly okay within ourselves and within humanity is for us to connect in with ourselves and through pleasure. I mean, I dig pleasure as a way to feel profoundly okay within my body. Cool. So tell us a little bit about your workshop, Decoding Desire, Pleasure, Sovereignty in the Age of Sex. What can people anticipate getting or experiencing from this workshop?
Yeah, so my goal in this workshop is really to expand our definition and capacity for sexual pleasure. Instead of taking that platter that I was talking about and saying that this is all that I've got, we're going to open up the buffet and actually get to look at the different ways that our bodies are wired for arousal. So I am a certified erotic blueprint coach, and the erotic blueprints were created by this woman named Jaya, and she basically mapped an unbelievable number of people and their pathways to arousal, and came up with that there's like 5 real types. And so we're going to open up what are those types and what is your unique map for the way that your body's wired for turn on.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you want to share a little bit about them?
Yeah, totally. Let's do that. So 5 types, right? Similar if you're familiar with the love languages, kind of like that, but really for arousal rather than just like love intimacy. So you've got energetic, sensual, sexual, kinky, and shapeshifter are the 5 types. So energetic And I'm curious, as we go through, like, I'm wondering, like, what, dings you off, like, ooh, that could be me, or like, maybe I experienced some of that and some of this, or maybe I need this, access to that. So
Okay.
the five types. Energetic are all into space, anticipation, ease. They're the kind of people that really want that, like, juicy, long gaze across the room. They want to feel the build up to sex happening. They want to, like, long for it, right? Yeah, energetics are really like, they need that space in order to access other types of turn on, right? It's really valuable for them. Whereas sensuals, a little less about this. Oh yeah.
Can I so I noticed whenever you were talking about that, about the longing or the gazing or the anticipation in the building, I felt like this, like, kind of like bubbling fire in my belly, and I was getting a little turned on by the thought of it. And although what was interesting is because when you said they need this, I'm like, oh, that part doesn't sound like me, but the buildup of I was feeling sensations. Okay.
Totally. What's information? Okay,
great. What's next?
So sexual next. Ooh, this is so exciting. Yes. I know, I'm feeling like it's not in my body too here. I'm like touching myself. So sensual.
Yeah, you can touch yourself.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Uniting all of the senses. So they really want to feel like the soft clothing. They want candlelight. They want the right music. They want you to run a bath. Here, I see you, like, licking your lips as I'm talking. So sensual, the kind of people who can, like, access orgasmic feelings through food, through beauty. They really want all of their senses to be ignited and, like, this luscious, like, full body experience, right?
Yeah, I'm into that too. It actually reminds me, I don't know if I told you this, but I recently had a solo erotic experience in the shower with poison oak on my skin.
Ooh.
I was in so much pain from poison oak for weeks, actually, when we first met. And I was in the shower, and at some point I was like, whoa, that sensation feels kind of like somehow sexual. And I just gave myself permission. I was like, what would it be like if I let myself moan in a shower and let the hot water on my poison oak? And then all of a sudden I just started feeling like this orgasmic waves go through. And then I peed, which also added to the orgasmic pleasure. So I was swimming in the sensations of poison oak and hot shower. I don't recommend poison oak to experience that, but if you get it, it could be a side bonus.
Totally. Yes, exactly. So finding those other ways that, like, suddenly your elbow in the shower is like an erogenous zone. But oh my gosh, what our bodies are capable of when you open yourself up to that, right?
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move to sexual.
Okay.
Sexual blueprint people, this is like the silver platter. This is like the way that our society frames sex. It's all about gender. It's all about 0 to 60. It's all about, like, tits and ass and, like, that nudity. I just want to see the human form. I just want my body up against your body. I want to feel your skin. Like, let's go. Right? The sexuals, they really need orgasm. They, like, want that absolutely guaranteed. They're super people. They're just like, let's go for the gold. Who needs a bath? Like, why do you want me to run you a bath and massage you before sex? Like, let's just do the dang thing. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
So what's coming up for me hearing that, I feel a little bit surprised, because when you said sexual, I was like, oh, I'm super sexual. This is totally going to be me. But actually, I felt less interest or turn on. And so I kind of, like, feel surprised by noticing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is one of the most powerful things that happens in these workshops, is seeing the way that our society frames sex is
Mm-hmm.
different how our body is wired.
Mm.
That when we take that platter and say that this is all I've got, this is all I'm allowing,
Mm.
we limit ourselves so much to what we know is true in our bodies, like
Mm-hmm.
what's really connecting for us, right?
Yeah.
So it's beautiful to
Yeah.
say that, like recognize, like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, I thought that that might be my thing. I'm not actually sure it is. Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like me some genitals and some orgasms,
For
and
sure.
it didn't feel nearly as energizing as the first two.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna get to that for sure. Let's
Okay.
table that one for a second. So let's move into kinky. So the kinky blueprint is all about taboo. And when we use the word kinky in society, a lot of people are talking about BDSM. That can be part of this, but is not like the whole of the kinky blueprint. Kinky is really what's naughty to you. So if you are raised in a household where sex should only be between a cisgendered man and a cisgendered woman in missionary position for procreation only, then having sex anytime when you're not trying to have a baby might be a little naughty. And if that is what turns you on, you're likely to be kinky. So it's whatever is
Got it.
you, it's whatever's taboo to you, that's the thing that like really revs your engine.
I really like this distinction of what's taboo to you, because I actually do teach some kink.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I've never thought about the definition of that specifically, like to you. Yeah. And so my reaction to that is, it's hard for me to actually get into the embodiment of that right now, because my mind, I was getting a little bit on the cognitive aspect of that, like, oh, new definition, new relationship. But yeah, there's something like for me really edgy to do shit that was not really allowed in growing up. Right. Or even actually, this was interesting. When I became a sex educator, I still thought BDSM was like bad and wrong and dirty. And so when I started doing it, it was like hot, but I was like, I couldn't let anybody know, because I still had the belief that it was like bad and wrong.
Right.
Yeah,
totally. Ah, the gears are turning. Yes, I love it. Okay, so let's go for the last one, which is shapeshifter.
Mm-hmm.
So this is mine. I'm a shapeshifter. Through and through. Just in the bedroom. It's so real. So shapeshifters need it all. They like need all of them united in order to really reach their like peak arousal. So whether that's every single sensation at a time, or like they need to regularly oscillate between blueprints, in order to really turn a shapeshifter on, they need lots of different sensations. You know, maybe a little pain, maybe a little soft, maybe a little power play, maybe a little space and tease. You know, they want everything. The thing about shapeshifters is lots of times they'll shift into their partner's blueprint and negate the rest of what they need. And so this
negate what they need?
The rest of what they need. So they'll be like, oh, sensual, so I'll just be a sensual. But then that sex gets super boring for them. They don't feel fed. They get resentful. Like it's amazing how this happens in relationships.
Wow. Okay, that piece was new to me for sure. That last little bit that you said. And as you were going through and naming each one of them, I was feeling a little anxious, like, how do I pick each one? And then when you were like, you can have them all, I was like, oh, there's relief and like, great, because I want you said the word buffet earlier in the call, and I was like, yeah, I'm a fan of the buffet. Yes. I want all the choices.
Absolutely. Yeah. So cool. It's really amazing. What we're going to do in the workshop is determine your blueprints, right? And then we're going to determine kind of your roadmap into your primary blueprint might be the way your gateway in. Like it might need fulfilled in order to access the rest of the blueprints. And so you're going to find like, what is your map? What are the steps you need to take in order to get that like pinnacle, ultimate, absolute ecstasy orgasm, or like peak sexual experience, right? It doesn't necessarily. Yeah.
Awesome. Beautiful. Oh, so good. I love feeling your energy and your aliveness and your passion and your fire for this work. And I'm so glad and honored that you are in my life, that you play the role of my teacher, and that you are offering and gifting this wisdom and this service to this community. He's going to show up May 8th through the 10th. So thank you so much, Terra.